Hello everyone, happy, glorious, sunshiny Friday. This is your Wish Fulfilled Friday, the portion of my channel that's dedicated to your incredible manifestation success stories, so that you can see how simple this can be, so that you can see that you don't need to do a million affirmations, bashing your head against the wall, running across the field, shouting to the moon, whatever techniques you're taking on now. You don't need to do all of these crazy things. It's such a natural and can be a very simple process when we break it down to its core fundamentals and principles. And so if you're looking at your current situation, which a lot of us are, all of you have hopes and dreams, whether you're manifesting a specific person or love in general or health, wealth, whatever it is you're looking for. You are all doing what we all do, focusing on the 3D obstacles, all the reasons why you cannot have your desire, right? Why? Oh my goodness, because there's a third party involved in my specific person manifestation. They're already in a relationship, and oh my goodness, I don't have any previous history with this person. I don't even know if they're interested in me. And so what are the chances? There's distance, there's an age gap. Are any of you going through any of this stuff? Because this is what my today's success story that she shared. This is what she went through. These were the obstacles that she had to face. So if you're going through something similar, or you just find yourself in general over whatever you're manifesting, you are finding yourself fixated on the obstacles and all the reasons why you can't have it. Remember, this is all about focusing and setting the intention of what you want, despite what your 3D circumstances look like at the moment. Because I can tell you that everything around me now, see this floor, this dress, everything seems so solidly real, because my 5 earthly senses are translating as such, because I can see it, or I can feel it, or I can hear it. But what am I seeing, feeling, and hearing? It's all a bunch of particles. If I hone in on it on a microscope. There we go. Happy Friday. Friday brain today. But if you hone in on it with a microscope, you're going to see a lot of moving particles, which is that nothing is solid, nothing is set in stone, and yet we treat it as such. And we put all the reasons, all the obstacles in the way as to why we can't have our desires. So if you're feeling a little bit glum and you're wondering how can this turn around, and you're thinking that manifestation is going to be a difficult process, and bridge of events, how is this going to unfold? I've got all these obstacles. Then maybe this success story is going to help you out. Stay tuned for it, because it's ever so sweet and adorable. It's not someone that I've coached with, it's just someone who watches my channel. But the she attributes her success to Joseph Ally's channel, actually, funny enough. And I think it was something that Joseph had stated about manifesting a specific person, maybe Hunt, or maybe in his videos, he's always talking about how you can manifest anything. And his method, of course, it goes by Neville Goddard's teaching, goes by principles I used to use, methods I used to use. I don't use SATs as much anymore, which is going into a state akin to sleep. I don't do that so much anymore because I tend to fall asleep. And I don't worry about making a whole formality of getting relaxed, sitting back, imagining. I don't worry about that too much. I'm more focused on, okay, what is it that I want? And let me ascertain that feeling. And I can do that during the day or in the shower, or as you know, this is how I manifested. But you see, it's all different sorts of ways to do it. And imagination is the key. This is the thing that you're going to notice in all these success stories. Imagination has been the most prominent key, because it allows you to step into that state and to feel what it would feel like to have your wish fulfilled. What would it feel like if your wish was fulfilled now, right? That's all we should be focusing on. So if you need a bit of a boost, this is why you're here. Welcome. Sit back and relax. For those of you who are new, welcome again to my channel. I'm Athena Raven. I'm a mental health and manifestation life coach. And I always apply the mental health aspect to this as well, because especially with specific person, and this is probably why I deal with a lot of specific person manifestations, yes, it can be really hard. It can really affect our confidence, our mental well-being. Yes, we have to go through processes of grief. So although I do teach how simple this is, because it is, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. At the same time, I do understand, as a human being with emotions and beliefs and trauma, it's not going to be so simple for you to just step into an imaginary act and suddenly everything is great and healed. There is going to be a bridge of events to that healing, and sometimes you need a bit more. But let's just sit back and see where this takes us. Also, I keep forgetting. I keep getting all these messages and emails. I love you guys. Messages mostly on the comments about information for my coaching, information for the Discord. I thought I advertised it clearly, but I'm really rubbish at marketing myself, obviously. So I was just going to say, if any of you need one-to-one support, or if you want to be part of a Discord community so you don't feel alone with other like-minded manifestors, or if you want to read some more success stories as your nighttime read, because I post them on my website, all the links that you need are in the description box below. Just click on there and all the information is there, okay? And let's see what she says in her success story, shall we? Whilst I catch in some of the sunshiny rays, because we don't know how long we're going to have it here. So this one is about going from imagination to a new enhanced reality with her specific person. It's a beautiful story. So she says, "Hiya Athena. I'm emailing you about my success story with my specific person. I left a comment on your video recently and you had asked me to email you the details and the bridge of incidents. I will only be too delighted to share this. Where do I start? I will try and keep it short. I am a singer and I first laid eyes on him when I went to his bar looking for a gig. I was instantly intrigued and felt a strong pull. My dad passed away a few weeks after I met him, and even during my grieving process, I was thinking about him and I asked Dad to help me to manifest him into my life." I relate. I wrote out my imaginal scene, just as Joseph Ally suggested to do prior to imagining. So I knew exactly what to imagine and to keep it short and precise. I imagined him telling me how happy he is and how happy I make him feel. He has a daughter, and I imagined him saying the daughter's name, "Absolutely adores you." I kept the scene short. I heard his voice, and I'd seen his facial expressions just as I knew them to be. I felt this is a strength of mine to do an imaginal scene to perfection. I looped the scene before bed in a drowsy state. I genuinely didn't worry about it throughout my day, as I understood the law of imagination. Once it's planted successfully, it must be returned. Note, my specific person was in a relationship at the time, so I put out the intention to the universe that I want to manifest this only if it brings happiness to all those involved. I'd seen him on a number of occasions and I sang in his pub. Can you imagine how nervous I was? So bridge of incidents number 1. He messaged me to tell me that I left my earring in the bar. He must have heard me saying that I'd lost it. Bridge of incidents number 2. I live near the beach and this is nowhere near where he lives. I was thinking about him, and in the moment I was thinking of him, I seen him collecting stones on the beach. I greeted him and I was taken aback, to be honest, but I smiled knowing it was a manifestation and God saying, "We hear you." But during the time COVID came, I genuinely had to let go of my desire, as I felt maybe it wasn't for me. Even though I loved the thought of him, I became engrossed in other matters, and there were tough times during COVID and I just didn't think of him anymore. Bridge of incidents number 3. About 5 months later, I randomly get a phone call from him. What? To cut a long story short, he was ringing me to look for an address near my house. I am now aware, sorry, it's all getting a bit noisy here. I am now aware that he was only doing this to get in contact with me. We met up on the beach as he happened to be parked near where I met him the last time. Note, at this time he didn't know that I was crazy about him. Bridge of incidents number 4. He messaged me twice saying that his car was broken down and could I come and help if I was around. Anyway, from these bridges of incidents, we were connected on such a deep level that it was absolutely divine intervention, and he is my absolute soulmate. The funny thing is, the first time he rang me, he didn't know I liked him. He only found out that I liked him when a taxi man let it slip to him that I liked him. He must have found out from my cousin, who he is friendly with, and my cousin knew that I liked him. It was after this revelation that he pursued me further until eventually we ended up uniting. When we chat about it all now, I am open to telling him I manifested him into my life, as I felt such a powerful pull towards him. I told him all about the law, and because he has seen me manifest amazing things, he is amazed by me. He tells me now that he felt the same all along, but of course he was in a relationship and he could not do anything. Note, It was only after he was single that he united with me, of course, as I always asked the universe to bring me this man only when he was single. There was also a big age gap between us, but age is just a silly number. So thank you, Joseph Ally, for giving me the confidence to manifest this man. I've always done my manifestations out of love and for the highest good. I am so happy to see you and Joseph together. And then she says, I am currently imagining a baby for us now. Did she say anything else? And she said as well, I forgot to mention, I imagined this scene most nights until I felt satisfied I had it planted. And I made a commitment to myself that anytime I thought of him, I would just think about how wonderful he is, and I didn't worry at all. So thank you so much, Angel, for sharing that wonderful story. Now remember, everyone's got different ways of manifesting. But as we go to bed, what do we tend to do? We tend to live out the day, or we tend to have our inner conversations, arguing perhaps with our SP, or focusing on all the reasons why we can't have it, everything that's going wrong. I know that I've gone to bed in an anxious mindset numerous times, and I'm sure you guys have as well. So it's truly important to be aware of that and to change this mindset before you go to sleep, because in going to sleep, whatever we are imagining, thinking of, going through, we're impressing, because we're in that sleepy state. Our subconscious mind becomes more open to suggestion. You're almost in a state of trance, right? And I tend to do my imaginary acts, as you know, in the shower or when I'm on autopilot. Again, that's another state of trance. But that time before falling asleep, going to bed, going into that state of trance, you're shutting out the world around you. And of course, you want to ensure that you're impressing only the best. And so that's a fantastic time to do your imaginary acts, as long as you're not falling asleep, of course. I mean, I stopped doing sats because I fall asleep too quickly, but I do ensure that if I am feeling like I'm in a bad mood, that I will make sure that I change that or imagine something ideal as I'm falling asleep. I don't really care too much about the vividness of the act or how many times I'm looping it, as long as I capture that feeling. But like I say, it's totally up to you. Some of you will find peace at doing some breath work before you go to bed. Some of you will find peace at, okay, let me plan my imaginal act, my scene, which Joseph is really big on that. He's got more of a strategic mindset than I do. I'm more kind of naturally creative, I guess. He's more about strategy. So he'll be like, right, get your scene short and precise, write it down, ensuring that the scene, whatever it is, implies that you already have your desire now. I do worry if this is going in and out of focus. I do apologize. I don't know what it is with this phone. Technology. But yeah, ensuring that the scene is short and concise, because if you're playing out a whole movie in your mind, what's going to happen? You're going to get lost with it, and you miss the whole point. You end up being too focused on, am I doing this correctly? Is it vivid enough? Is this capturing you want to make it as natural as possible, because that's what it's like. The effectiveness of your scene will be determined by the naturalness that you feel from it. And she did it enough times that she felt natural with it. It was short, it was precise, it was showing her that there was a relationship here, made her feel warm and connected with her SP, and she just ensured that her thoughts were in alignment with that, because of course, why wouldn't it be? When you shifted your state, ergo shifted your perception, where you stand in relation to your desire. Remember my last video, right? With Mr. Stone, wherever you stand in relation to your desire, it should always be in alignment with your end result. There's no point me looking at life and looking at my specific person in the same way, looking at all the reasons why I can't have it, looking at the tumultuous past, if there is one, looking at the third party, and that there's no reason, it doesn't make sense for me to do all of that and focus on that. When I have a desire, I know what my desire is, and I want to step into the state of having that desire. Well, once I have that desire, I'm in that state. That version of me doesn't really care about the obstacles, and is probably laughing off a lot of the obstacles as well. So keep that in mind too. I really hope that you guys found this particularly helpful. It's another way to imagine. You can loop it. You can, for those of you who follow Neville Goddard's teachings as well, you see this is what he talks about. My goodness, and now it's getting noisy and chaotic here anyway, so maybe I should end the video as everyone's finishing for the day. It is Friday after all. But I hope that this helped to clarify a few things for you guys and how simple it can be. Plant the seed with imaginal act. You can do it once, you could do it numerous times on a loop. Do it until it feels good, until it feels natural. You can plan it out and script it beforehand, or you can just go into it organically by asking yourself, what would it feel like if my wish was fulfilled? Live your life in the perception, from that new state. And it makes it a lot more easy and fluid as well. you know. So sending you guys all the love in the world. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you all in the next video.